Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm going to discuss some of the things I noticed when I watched the film Something Borrowed, made in 2005, starring Ginnifer Goodwin and Kate Hudson. So one thing I notice about a lot of film analysis is that there seems to have to always be a villain. And I feel like films from the 2000s always leave something out to the open. There's a lot of room for nuance. And there doesn't always have to be one villain. Everyone can be bad, as this film succinctly showed me. So we have two best friends, Darcy and Rachel, played by Ginnifer Goodwin and Kate Hudson, and obviously they have been friends since they were children. We clearly and can clearly and quickly see into maybe the first 30 seconds of the film the dynamic between Rachel and Darcy, where Rachel is more outgoing and more dramatic, and she's also a people person, but she's also very self-absorbed. We can see that Rachel is less than that. She is not self-absorbed. She's more sensitive. She's basically like Darcy's assistant more than friend. She's always running after everyone, caring about everyone. She's more sweet-natured, sensitive, quiet, reserved. She's a lawyer. She does a lot of things for herself. So we see the dynamic. And when these kind of dynamics are in film, like you will see also in another film Kate Hudson is in Bride Wars, especially when one of the characters is more well off than the other one, or has more luck than the other one, or is in a better relationship than the other one is. You can see this dynamic very quickly. And that leads me to say that because Rachel goes on to have an affair with Darcy's fiance, Dexter, we are supposed to root for them. And throughout the film, I found it hard to root for anyone simply because of the fact that this film was actually about cheating. It was about cheating. They present it as a rom-com, but it's really a psychological horror. It's a psychological horror film. It's not a rom-com. I found it hard to laugh throughout the film, even though I could see there were things that were supposed to be funny in there. But it was hard to laugh when I would remember the subject matter we are being presented with at hand. We can see the fact that this film is about cheating. So another thing that I saw in this film was the fact that because Darcy, for instance, is a self-absorbed person, she's more of a reprehensible character, that we're supposed to be okay with what's happening to her, even when we find out that Darcy later on in the film is actually cheating on Dexter too. Probably not as long, probably not at the same time, but recently as well, and she actually ends up pregnant by the man she was cheating on Dexter with. I think we're supposed to be okay with Dexter and Rachel cheating with each other and lying to everyone around them simply because they just like each other so much. They love each other so much. Like the first 10 minutes they kiss, they start cheating with each other within the first 10 minutes of the film, and we're supposed to root for them because there's just this undeniable pull. So it's not like people are getting how to live their lives by watching certain films, but it feels like this film can kind of be encouraging to people who are in love. And when you are in love, everything seems to be okay, despite how you got there, despite the circumstances of the love taking place, and despite how many people are hurt in the process. Now, Darcy as a reprehensible person, because she's technically a bad person throughout the film and pretty much shows no remorse the entire time, we as viewers will probably think it's okay that she gets hurt, even though the fact that Dexter doesn't have a particularly fun background considering his family. Rachel has always put Darcy and everyone else before herself. It doesn't mean that what they did was okay, and I didn't get that from the film. I didn't get that it was supposed to be okay, but the way the cheating aspect was downplayed as rather just a silly mistake, and a mistake that led into them having this undeniable realization, which therefore can push Darcy out of the dynamic and therefore just discuss the quote-unquote love at hand, right? Because when Rachel tells Ethan, their mutual friend, that she is cheating with Dexter, Ethan doesn't come at Rachel from the point of, you're hurting Darcy, you're lying to everyone else, it is wrong to cheat and be a cheater. he comes from the angle of Dexter isn't admitting right away that he loves you. Is he planning a future with you now? If he isn't, that means he's not a good guy. Full well, Dexter probably just isn't a good guy at the moment because he's choosing to cheat on his fiance. That isn't enough for Ethan, because Ethan and Darcy in the film don't actually really like each other. So therefore, I think Ethan as a character is actually just using the fact that he doesn't like Darcy to therefore just hide under that guise and pretend as if he's just on Rachel's side and just wants her to be loved. And one of the reasons why I say that is because later on in the film, Ethan also admits to being in love, well, liking Rachel and wanting to be with Rachel too. So we can see that in that aspect too. The reason why friendship is important in this is because throughout the film, Darcy says to Rachel that she loves her. She says, I love you, on several different occasions throughout the film. And I think that when a lot of people say I love you to someone they mistreat, it is abusive, because you're using that to satiate the harm you are doing to that person. And because of the kind of personality traits that Rachel has, she's sort of a pushover. When it comes to Darcy, she'll literally drop anything. Like, for instance, in the beginning of the film, which leads to Darcy and to Rachel and Dexter kissing in the first place, is that Darcy gets drunk and she forgets her Chanel bag, which is a very expensive bag, at the club that Darcy threw Rachel's surprise party at. So she loses her bag, and then Rachel postpones going home for the night to go and sleep to help Dexter look for Rachel's expensive Chanel bag. So that's just one example of Rachel putting her Darcy's needs before her own. So we are supposed to assume, because Rachel has put Darcy before herself the entire time, that means that she's allowed to borrow, which is a callback to the title of the film, Something Borrowed. She's allowed to borrow Darcy's fiance because, well, technically Darcy has borrowed her time for years. And any single time that Rachel has had an achievement, or she's expressed that she likes someone, or she wanted someone or wanted something, Darcy has swooped in and either taken it for herself or ruined Rachel's chances at getting it. So a consistent theme throughout the film is Darcy lying and being manipulative. So she lies. It's found out to be a lie in the film that she got accepted into Notre Dame University, and she uses that against Rachel, even though the entire time, and Rachel didn't know, it was a lie that she didn't actually get in. Darcy has been using it as an excuse to control Rachel for the past several years, saying, well, I ruined my chance. I gave up my chances to go up to Notre Dame to be with you, to stay with you, so you didn't feel bad because you didn't get in. Meanwhile, Darcy didn't even get in the first place. And Ethan brings that up to Rachel, who feels that she's justified now in continuing to cheat with Dexter on Darcy because Darcy has lied to her and possibly hindered Rachel from getting multiple opportunities in life. And Rachel comes to a conclusion by the end of the film, which is quite important, even though I do feel like she was being a bit harsh on herself, where she says it isn't Darcy who'd ruined things for me, it's me that I ruined things for myself by letting Darcy have so much control over my life, which is somewhat okay to conclude, but at the same time it does feel a bit victim blaming to herself. We can hold ourselves accountable for how much power we allow people over our lives, but when someone is physically stopping you from having the knowledge you need to make informed decisions, then I don't think you should blame yourself for that. And the last thing I'll mention is the part of the cheating, the reason why cheating is so insidious. Not only are you lying, you're putting someone's health at risk, because when Dexter and Rachel had sex for the first time, they went to a trip on the Hamptons with the rest of their friends, and Darcy and Dexter did proceed to have intercourse as well on that trip. So he was not double dipping, but you know what I mean. But yes, it is a bit grubby that he kept having sex with Darcy. And of course, he did that to keep up the pretense that everything's okay. Because at first, him and Rachel were not going to acknowledge what happened between them. They were going to treat it as a mistake and they were going to brush past it. But the kind of message this I received from this, not like to rule my life, but I got the idea that, oh, as long as you feel this gravitational pull towards the person you are seeing, whether you are cheating with them or on them, the gravitational pull should be enough to sustain the relationship. As long as you feel this undeniable attraction to each other, everything you're doing can be justified and okay. And that leads me into talking about the cheating aspect, which is 90% of the film's discussion point. But yeah, it's treated like an afterthought. It's treated like, oh yeah, it's just something that happens, It's not. It's a conscious choice and you can see it. So the three aspects of the cheating dynamic we have. First, we have lying and we have deception and omission. So, of course, cheating is about lying, but it's not just about lying. Lying seems quite blasé. There's the deception involved, which is telling people one thing, doing another, lying, but times 100. And mentioning omission is important because they leave out certain details. Because as someone who cheats, or as someone who has cheated on people, or if you are being deceptive towards people, you know for a fact if you gave those people you're trying to deceive all the information, then they would probably leave you, or they would make a decision you don't want them to make. So in order to facilitate an environment where no one can make the decision that you don't want, you leave out vital details that if they knew, they would make an informed decision on, with having all the information. But all the people who have all the information in this context is Dexter and Rachel. So it leaves other characters in the movie to be looking at them funny because they don't know what's going on between them. The only character who seems to figure out pretty much on their own is Ethan, who is Rachel's close friend, who later admits that he likes her. So another part of the cheating dynamic is compartmentalization. So compartmentalization, when you compartmentalize, basically you are able to live basically a double or triple or quadruple life. So you can portray different realities to people. You are able to go out and cheat with this person, then come home and act as if you've just went to the shopping center, or you've just gone to work and you've just come back. Or why were you late? Or why were there were all the traffic lights were red? And then everyone will just believe you because they don't assume you are doing them dirty, and you have to keep up pretenses. That is what compartmentalization is. The more practice the cheaters or the cheater has with being able to lie, the easier it becomes for them to compartmentalize. To them, they will be able to believe their own lies. So the last part is the justification. Throughout this film, you see a lot of justification that what they're doing is not that bad because they love each other. And like I said before, as long as the gravitational pull is there, as long as they want to do it, as long as they like each other, as long as they love each other, because love is all anyone needs, apparently, according to these films. Therefore, it's okay what they're doing. And fuck Darcy. Even though Darcy isn't a particularly nice person, she does a lot of bad things throughout this film. But it's still not okay. It's still not okay because Dexter was supposed to be faithful to Darcy, even if she was not faithful to him. Because if she was the only one who ended up not being faithful, of course, we would talk about Darcy. But they both did it. And the reason why Darcy was hurt, obviously, is because it's her best friend and obviously her fiance, who they've been seeing for the past 6 years. But I get it. I get it why it's easy not to feel sorry for Darcy, because I don't really feel sorry for her. But I think that because Darcy was made and written to be such a horrible person, and we can see so many examples throughout the film, we think it's justified and we think it's okay, or it doesn't matter the fact that these two essentially cheated with each other. And Darcy obviously was an afterthought. I think this is why we're supposed to root for these two in this film, simply because they seem cutesy together. Dex is able to tell Rachel secrets about his family, about his life, what he actually wants to work as. And so she feels that, because I have all this information about him, and he feels, because I can tell her these things, I'd be soft and sensitive with her, and I can tell her that I always wanted her, even though I won't do much to be with her until the going gets tough, I guess, then it's okay. And I guess that's the kind of lesson we're supposed to learn from this, that as long as you have love, then it really doesn't matter who else you affect by the love, even if you are lying technically. And even with that, you can walk away hand holding and walking off into the sunset. Thank you for listening.